Commenting, reflecting, reasoning, reckoning. The Huddle.
Now we go to Cameron Slater from Whale Oil. Hello, Cam.
Hey, Larry.
And we've got David Farrer from Kiwi Blog. Hello, David.
Hi there.
All right, Cameron, let's go to you first. The ACC fiasco moves along. Former Minister Nick Smith writes this letter of support of Bronwyn Puller. It was a character reference, not a recommendation on compensation. Indeed, he declined to intervene in that, which I think was a wise idea, but I think the letter was a mistake. It was bound to influence, I think, and the Minister now regrets it. How do you see it?
Incredibly foolish action to do, and, you know, it's also an imposition, I guess, on Nick Smith of the friendship from Bronwyn Puller as well. You shouldn't, you know, I've got friends that are cabinet ministers, I've got friends that are MPs, and I would never consider using them as a reference. The implications of it, the ability for someone to turn that into political capital at a later date is too incredible. The risks are too high, and it's incredible that Nick Smith even acceded to doing such a letter.
Yeah, how do you see it, David?
Yeah, look, I'm very similar here. It was definitely an error of judgment, which the Minister has now conceded doing it. Because even though you can quibble, you can say it was to the independent assessors, not ACC, is just a bad look here. The Minister for ACC, you're writing about someone's ACC claim. And to make it worse, he actually did on parliamentary letterhead too. Where it's a bit different from some previous cases, though, there was no self-gain involved. This wasn't him using his status to gain any favours for himself. I think he was motivated by compassion, but it definitely is something he shouldn't have done.
But the issue, Cameron, has moved on now. We have New Zealand First Leader Winston Peters saying this in the House today.
It's a shabby little case involving blackmail, sex, a minister with a conflict of interest, and he should go now.
So now we've got sex in all of the mix, which is rather
be interesting
remarkable
to see where that's going to go with Winston. But I thought that was veteran Winston Peters, and although I'm not well known as someone who loathes the mere sight of the man, you have to say that he was on fire in that piece today. And, let's see where that goes. But I imagine that he's probably got some more information that knowing Winston being the coward that he is, he'll bring it up under parliamentary privilege.
All right. Well, the other thing, David, is there's a lot of conflicting statements. This is away from what the Minister is involved in. A lot of conflicting statements over whether the data was being used for leverage or not. Well, I say to that, we'll let the police deal with it.
Yeah, and the police are going to look into whether there actually has been anything which is a breach of the Crimes Act. But I think you can conclude, regardless of the criminality, like if you get sent data by mistake, you shouldn't keep hold of it. You send it back, you delete. You might send a copy to the Privacy Commissioner as a complaint, but I think there's a lesson to be learnt there that by keeping on to it, you've now got two versions about who was setting down conditions for it to come back.
She kept hold of it for months on end. This is the thing. Why would you do that if it wasn't for leverage?
I don't know. Why would you hold it back? Why wouldn't you just give it to ACC there and then, immediately?
Pass the reasonable person test. A reasonable person would go, whoa, hang on a second, this looks, I shouldn't really have got this, I better notify someone, I'll delete it. If necessary, you swear an affidavit to say that you've done that, because you don't want to get yourself in trouble as well. But you don't go and shop it to the media. You don't go and give it to another journalist out there for him to then run a massive sting and suggest that there's this massive breach of personal data, when the facts of the case are that it's not a massive breach of personal data.
No, it's not. It's not personal data. It's name, date, file, whatever.
Exactly.
That's it.
I mean, Phil Kitchen has really got to be shaking his head here on this one.
Yeah, I think what you've got, though, is the background that Miss Puller's been involved in a battle with ACC pretty much for 9 years. She has a great sense of grievance against them, and without getting into the who's right or wrong there, I think what happens is then when this came, she sees this as, this proves that they're incompetent, they're wrong, I can use this in the campaign against them, without reflecting that wasn't the wisest thing to do.
All right, we'll come back. We'll have to leave it there because of the court stuff. Cameron Slater and David Farrer on the Huddle. Murray Deaker to follow. It's now 10 to 6.